Hello, my name is DJ Crazy Jimmy, aka James Dwyer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's the new year. It's a whole day in the new year. Right now it's like 8 o'clock p.m. in the Philippines, which is like another few hours here in the United States. People in the United States will be waking up, so that'll be their first full day of New Year in the United States. Excuse me, I can't get my words out. And so that means what? Here we had a little bit of a celebration. I mean, today there was a family that gave out food, and they gave out food to the people who are a little bit more needy in the area, and that was kind of really nice. I never really seen a community that just like gives somebody in a family just gives food to the whole entire community. They come over, they have games for the children, and they gave out food. They gave me dinner. I thought that was nice. I already ate, but they gave me dinner anyway to take home. I thought that was really nice. So, other than that, that's pretty much all that's going on right here in Buyuan, Philippines, which is a small part of Iloilo City. If you go about an hour south on a jeepney down to Buyuan, you'll get this little town, this little village where we live in here, which is like, we're right next to the beach, and I love it here. I love the beach. I haven't gone swimming in a few days. It's been like a couple weeks, actually. I got wounds on my feet because of insects bites, and I was scratching it, and they turned into just giant open wounds. I had to heal those wounds. I haven't been really swimming that much in the ocean, but I think it's been kind of cool seeing that it's January 1st right now. It might be kind of cool in the ocean, but still it's not as cold as it is in the United States. You can go swimming in the ocean here in January 1st, February and December and November. You can go swimming in the ocean, that's for sure. Neither here or there. In Baghdad, they attacked the U.S. Embassy, and that's kind of really sad. That happened like on New Year's or like 2 days ago, I think it was. So the U.S. is deploying 750 troops to Baghdad to help secure the embassy and a few other things that are going on over there. So that's kind of what's going on right now with the news that I've been reading. Other than that, I try to stay up with the news, but I haven't been able to. I think in the United States right now, there's a lot of winter weather that's been going on. I have been watching YouTube videos of some truckers that have been driving around, and I like to watch trucker videos because I want to get into trucking when I get back in the United States. And that's one of the things that I don't want to do is to start my training in the winter weather. I think that would suck to have to do truck driving and learn how to truck driving in winter weather. I've already driven in snow growing up pretty much all of my young adult life, and I didn't like it. So, I mean, I moved to Florida when I was 18 years old, and I pretty much didn't look back. I stayed in Florida for the most part. I moved out a few different times, but came back to Orlando, and I just don't like the snow. So, driving in the snow, driving in the cold weather is not something I enjoy, but if I get into truck driving, I'll have to do it. But I can do it if I'm driving for work. But I don't want to learn in the winter weather. So other than that, that's what's going on with the United States. It's just the winter weather. I think that's the news. It's just that it's cold. It's cold. Being in Phoenix, Arizona, it's not cold. It's nice and warm. Being in Florida, it's nice and warm. Being in Oregon, where my family's at, I have family in Oregon. It's cold, but it's not as bad as it is if you were like in Wisconsin or Pennsylvania in the Appalachian Mountains, or in maybe New York City. That might be kind of cold because of the wind right off the ocean. I don't know how windy it gets in New York City. It's been a long time since I've been there. Let's see what we can talk about. I like to shoot YouTube videos once a day, and I try to find an interesting topic or something to talk about in my YouTube videos once a day, because I like to put out a video once a day to kind of document my days here in the Philippines. And I kind of ran out of things to talk about in the Philippines, in particular, what to talk about here. So I've been looking at news articles and things like that to try to think about things to talk about with the news. But one of the things, if you notice, I'm DJ Crazy Jimmy. I have a career of DJing for 15 years, and I never really talked about that. I never really got to tell a lot of my stories, so maybe I thought I'd tell you one of my stories when I used to DJ. When I used to DJ, my first DJ gig that I remember going to where I didn't have backup equipment. I had an amplifier, I had speakers, I had lights, I had cables to hook it all together, I had a pickup truck, I had my music, I had my CD players, all that good stuff. But my amplifier, I only had one amplifier, and I hooked it up, and something got stuck in the cooling fan, and I turned it on and I ran that cooling fan, and it was stuck with like a zip tie that was in the cooling fan, and it just stuck on, and it overheated the amplifier, and the amplifier failed. And I'll tell you what, I didn't have an extra amplifier. It was about 25 minutes before they were going to let students into a prom that was going on. So this was a prom that I was DJing, and I didn't have an amplifier. Somebody, I had gone to the hallway and asked if anybody is in a band or anybody that does music, does they have an amplifier? And somebody raised their hand. I says, can you go home and get it? I'll pay you. Somebody ran home and got their music amplifier for their band that they had, and brought it to the auditorium, and I hooked it up, and that was what saved the prom at that school, and that was in Rockwood, Pennsylvania. And I remember that was what, 2000 like 2001, 2002 maybe. I can't remember the exact year, but it was early 2000s. And I just remember that for the rest of my life. I'll just always remember that one story. There's a lot of stories that go on. For example, I have experience as an Uber driver, and I have some stories about people picking people up in Uber, but I don't know if I've ever told many of those stories. But one of my stories that I have with Uber, I had to pick up somebody from a casino, and they've been drinking all night long, and then they were doing drugs in the casino, and I didn't know this, but they made me aware of it in the car. And they wanted to know if they could get away with pretending that they were just drunk to trick their husbands into, because there's two women, tricking their husbands into believing that they were just drunk instead of doing drugs, because they don't do drugs. And I guess maybe years ago they were doing cocaine, I think. They were sniffing cocaine. So they were with these men doing cocaine and playing cards all night long, and they were trying to hide from their family that they were doing drugs, so they got drunk. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I was taking them home, and the bars or the places that sell alcohol will start selling, I think it was like 7 a.m. So I had about an hour drive to take them home, and then they said, drive me to a gas station so I can buy some beer so I can get drunk, so I can hide the fact that I was drunk. So I was doing drugs from my husband. I'll just say I was drunk, I was drinking all night, and then I'm going to go home and go to bed. The only problem I think with that is that I think the bars stopped serving alcohol at 2 a.m. So how do you say that you were drunk at 7 a.m.? I don't know. But they were asking me questions. I was really polite about it. They would tip me big money for being able to get them to some place where they could buy alcohol. They gave me like $50 in tips just to be able to get them somewhere where they can buy alcohol, and waiting like 15 minutes for them. They really appreciated the fact that I helped them out. But I think that's a funny story out of driving for Uber. I have to think of some more stories maybe I could tell in some future videos. But those two stories of DJing and Uber, what else have I done in my life? Well, let's see. There's some interesting stories. Nah, not too many other things. I'm sure I have stories. Oh, one time I was getting ready to go to a DJ gig. And there's these grates that you put on top of a speaker. And it protects the speaker from being kicked or bumped or broken, and the speaker being broken. And I picked the grate up, and this grate fell off my speaker a lot. So I had to get a screwdriver and put it back on. So I was picking up the grate, and it has a rubber surround on the grate to protect the metal part of it, so you don't hurt your hand on it in case it falls off and you got to put it back on or whatever it may be. There's a rubber surround around that piece of metal because it's pretty sharp. And I picked up the grate, and I was throwing the grate in the air and grabbing it with my hand, and just picking up, grabbing it with my hand, looking for a screwdriver before my gig because I was in a good mood. I was walking around the house, just throwing it in the air, grabbing the grate, and the rubber surround fell off, and it came down to my hand, and it sliced my hand open, and I had to go DJ. And I had to carry equipment and everything else. And I couldn't cancel my gig because it was paying really good money. And the people would be pissed off. And it would have affected my future business if I canceled the gig to go to the hospital. So I was young. I was like 16, 17 years old. Because I used to DJ and then go to high school the next day. My mom was a nurse. So she wrapped my hand in gauze. And she said, just take care of your hand. Be careful how you lift your equipment. At that time, I had my parents bought me a truck to be able to DJ, and I didn't have the money to buy a truck, but it was cheap. It was like a couple $1,000 truck. My parents helped me out with that so I could DJ, and I really thank them for that, because if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be able to start DJing in high school. But I used to get paid like $60 a gig, $70 a gig when I first started out. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was just enough to get the experience and to be able to get paid more later on in life. But neither here or there. That was a funny story. And getting paid $60 a gig to DJ was, I mean, that's pretty desperate when you're young. When you're young, what, in the early 2000s, like 2000, I graduated high school in 2001. So in 2000, 1999, and then 2002, 2003, my first few gigs, like I said, I got paid $65 a gig just for 3 hours. That's nothing, not even $100. And that way I was guaranteeing the fact that I was getting gigs every single, like 3-4 times a week. That's just to get the experience, but to be known, so I could also raise my prices later on. If you ever think about becoming a DJ, charge $50 a gig, charge $70 a gig, and just go out and do it for the experience. Go out and do it for the fun. And then get your experience, get your clientele, get some experience, and then raise your prices. And when you raise your prices, people will still pay for you. You can pay $300 a gig, $600 a gig, $1,200 a gig for a wedding. You can go up there. You can go up there in price. But you have to get that experience. And the only way to get that experience is to go out and do it. So that was one of the things I did. I was 16, 17, 18 years old DJing. And I did it until I was about almost 30. And I'm 37 now. So it's been a while since I've DJed. But I really would like to get back into it. I had my online radio stations, and I really want to get back into doing that, where I have my Google Play Store app where you could listen to music. I stream online music to people, and they can listen to my music and stuff like that. I really want to get back into doing that, and I probably will when I get back to the United States and my wife comes there with me. I don't think I'm gonna build my application again until my wife is actually in the United States with me and we're both working. Because it's kind of expensive having your wife and your husband, being wife and husband, and being two separate places at this, and being married. You know, you gotta take care of bills in both places. That's kind of really expensive. And she being in the Philippines, me being in the United States, that's kind of hard for us. But when we're together, we could live in the same house. We both have jobs. We both can contribute. I think that at that time I'll be able to be a little bit more creative with my application and music streaming again. I really would appreciate to get back into that again. Let me know. Would you listen to my Google Play Store app? Would you listen to an Android app of music streaming if it was free? Would you listen to it? Do you listen to Spotify? Do you listen to Pandora? Let me know in the comments. What do you listen to for music? Do you listen to Google Play? Do you listen to the Play Store music app? Do you pay for an app? Do you pay for Google? Do you pay for Google Music? Do you pay for Pandora? Do you pay for Beats through Dr. Dre Beats music streaming service, or what do you do? So anyway, neither here or there. I'm DJ Crazy Jimmy. I'm going to cut this video now, and I hope that I'll see you in the next video. If you're not a subscriber, consider it. I usually don't have any pressure for that, but if you could leave a comment, that's the biggest thing. Leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.